Hello, welcome back. Principle number 3 is to be genuinely interested in other people. By the way, that last section that you just did, that form slide that we talked about, that was actually supposed to be in principle number 3 here. That's where I had plugged that. So that's a mistake in the taping here. But what we're going to do in this module is kind of hit, instead of focusing on one principle, we've got 2 or 3 here that we're going to include here. So everything I said about that form was all about really showing that you're interested in the other person. And to be really effective, the only thing I'll add is instead of just going through the motions, according to his process here, Carnegie's process, is you're supposed to be genuinely interested in the other person. Again, people don't, it's the old, they don't care how much you know until they realize or believe how much you care. And they really want genuine interest. So with that said, remember, the form is part of principle number 3. Principle number 4, smiling. Smile a lot. This is one of the downsides to the whole pandemic thing. I don't know if you've noticed it. It's hard to communicate. You're in the store wearing your mask, and you really, I never realized how much people communicate and say with whether the facial expression, because you lose a lot of that now with wearing the mask. So it really has emphasized to me how important it is to smile, because if you smile, you reflect something very favorable. It shows that you have a good view of the world, you have a good view of yourself, and you are seen as friendly. And and that's all appealing. And again, remember, people are going to buy from you, people they know, like, and trust, and they look at your face, and a smiling person is very appealing. They will tend to like you, and they automatically kind of trust you. So be aware of that a little bit too, that if somebody understands this, the one that's going to stab you in the back is going to be smiling while they do it. And so it'd be a little bit cautious. Now, this even works if it is unseen. Now, I referenced the mask thing. You can still sort of tell whether somebody is frowning or they're smiling at you. If you're going through Walmart and turn in the corner and almost run your cart into somebody, and if you smile, my natural reaction would be to smile, sorry. And that still kind of comes across in the way your eyes connect. I can still see that. And I can tell whether someone is smiling under the mask or not. And the smiling thing even works on the phone. There's a lot of research on phone sales that shows you can increase your phone sales if you sit in front of a mirror and smile as you're on the phone. Even though they can't see you, it somehow comes across. So force yourself. This is the old fake it till you make it. A lot of people don't like that phrase, but it's real effective. If you don't feel like smiling, smile anyway. If you don't feel good, act like you do. Fake it. If you don't feel confident, I always tell my students when they have to do a public presentation, I hate this getting up in front of the class and talking. Act like you are having the greatest time of your life. That is the biggest key to being successful at presentations. Gotta act like you're having a great time. Even when you are sick, even when you are scared, even when you're terrified, act as if you got it under control. Learn to fake it. And if you do that long enough, if you act as if, William James, father of modern psychology, said if you act a certain way, you'll eventually actually bring that into being. So if you act confident, you will be confident eventually. And it really does work. And it's not hocus pocus, it is psychology, research that supports this. So the smiling is a big deal. Happiness, for example, is not about what's really happening. Happiness is not what's really happening around you. Happiness is based on what you think about. And you can be in a lousy, real situation and still be happy. You control your attitude. It's not what happens to you, it's how you respond to it. That's real important. Principle number 5. Names are important to people. So try to remember them. By the way, never say, well, I'm lousy at names. You're just putting your negative psychology, you're reinforcing to your subconscious mind that names aren't important to you and you're not good at them. Terrible psychology to do that, and you hear it all the time. I'm no good at remembering names. I hate to even say it in this example. So just a few little tricks to remembering names. Ask for their complete name. Don't just, if they say, my name's Bill, ask them, well, gee, what's your last name? And then if it's anything complex at all, ask them to spell it out. Make sure you get the proper names. And then you spit it back to them, repeat it. And make a big deal about it. That if you're going to remember names, you've got to make it a priority. So first thing is ask for a complete name and repeat it back to them. The form thing we talked about in the previous module, family, occupation, recreation, message, is try to use their name as you're going back and forth. Oh, Bill, oh, by the way, what do you do for fun? Mary, you mentioned you had 2 kids, boys, girls, how old? But actually, it gives you an opportunity, because you're having a small talk conversation, to use the name several times. That'll help you a lot in remembering it when you meet them 3 weeks from now. Try and focus on some picture. Is there some visual? Is there some visual you can connect their name with? Some names are more conducive to, trying to develop a picture, because some people's minds work better with words. Some people's work better with pictures. Or situations, you met them in a certain situation. So the next time you see them, that'll help trigger remembering. When you're doing letters or emails, put Dear Bill, Dear Mary, Dear Dave, whatever it is. That makes people feel important. If you just slap off an email and you just put the text in there and you don't use their name, you don't sign your name, it makes them feel less important. Gives a little bit of it. It is worth the time to say, Dear Dave or Dear Bill, and then sign. Don't just, hey, do this, do that, and then sign off. Say, okay, do this, do that. Best wishes, Dave, or just Dave. Something that lets them feel they're a person and you're not treating them like a piece of meat. If you don't think names are important, in the world of fundraising, I used to do some fundraising for several of the universities that I've been at. You're dealing with somebody who's got $400 million. And oddly enough, you'd think if you have $400 million, you're pretty self-confident and you don't care about much. You got the world by the tail. All you got to do to get them to donate $1 million, say, oh, by the way, if you donate $1 million, we'll put your name on the building. That is the most powerful fundraising technique probably ever created. We'll just name it $1 million. Yeah, there's the Dave Shallow bathroom. We can name a building, a room, a bathroom even, whatever. If you'll put my name on it, I'll give you money. And if you don't put my name on it, I won't give you the money. It is that funny that somebody will not donate unless they get credit for it and recognition for it. Although if you understand what we talked about earlier, about the importance of recognition and credit, you understand totally. It all makes sense. And as this course progresses, that'll hit you. Initially, it's a little bit of random this and a random that, and that's the way it may feel. But by the time you get to the end, it's like, oh my gosh, it all makes sense. And that's where we want you to be. Because when you get to that stage, you're going to be powerful, and it's going to help you in your career. But this whole idea of remembering names is mostly about trying. You got to really want to remember. We're trying to genuinely be interested in other people. So you got to really want to remember the name and make an effort to do it. And not saying, well, I just start off with a defeatist attitude of, I can't remember names. That, again, avoid that. Go positive. Gee, I'm really good at remembering names because I know it's really important. And that'll make a big difference. It really will.